Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another very special episode of X Talking Ish with my brother from another mother.
What's up, y'all?
How you doing? And of course, we do apologize for the little of the delay for tonight, but as you can see, we are here on a Tuesday night, a little after 9 o'clock. But you know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. If you are on YouTube, of course, please make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that the subscribe button on YouTube, and please make sure you hit that notification bell.
Ding.
Thank you very much for that, Ish. And also, if you are on Twitter, please make sure you check out everything on Twitter at X_Williams81. And for this episode, like I said, we have a very special guest. Somebody that is not new to the show, somebody that is very dear to my heart, Mr. KC of Just Another Football Show. We appreciate you as always for joining the show, sir.
Hey, man, I appreciate the time. Appreciate hanging out. Always a good time with you guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you guys know if you want to get in contact with KC, go ahead and check out his Facebook page at Just Another Football Show.
Easy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. And as you guys know, of course, if you have been tuning in, besides the NBA playoffs that are going on right now, the NFL, of course, takes over with their news coverage as always. And the two main guys that are trying to figure out where they're going to be going for this upcoming season is Mr. Aaron Rodgers and Julio Jones, who we will touch on very shortly. And our other topic that we have for tonight is Mr. Jalen Waddle and Trevor Lawrence. Apparently, were graded the same draft grade by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we'll get into that in about another 15 to 20 minutes. That's something very interesting that I felt like we needed to talk about for tonight. But like I said in the beginning, Mr. Aaron Rodgers, we just talked about him a couple weeks ago on this show, that Aaron Rodgers is not playing any games with the Packers organization when it comes to most likely not going to be a Packer anymore. So with that being said, will Aaron Rodgers be a Packer week one? Let's take it around the round table. KC, I'm going to start with you, my guy, since you are a guest on the show. What you think?
Man, I'm so torn here. I think I legitimately believe that he will be wearing a Denver Bronco uniform week one.
Ooh.
That's been my prediction since everything went down with Deshaun. I think that they were going to be full in on going and getting him. And that's not going to happen now, I feel like. That's a whole different subject. But the more we read about this Aaron Rodgers subject, the more that he has now actually said something. I've over and over and over the past few weeks said, well, we haven't heard him say anything. We've heard secondhand. We've heard from people who have heard from people. I want to hear him say something. And we did. So I'm starting to believe it a little bit more. I think Denver sort of had a handshake deal since the draft. I think that's why we saw them draft the way they did, not go after a quarterback. I think this is sort of a deal that's basically done, but isn't going to get done until after the first when money changes.
Yes, and just like you said, that is what I think everybody's waiting on. June 1st is where guys like Aaron Rodgers and Julio Jones will probably make a splash with another team. And that means we'll probably have to do another episode to figure out where they will be headed to. But it seems like everybody's really waiting on June 1st. And Ish, what are your opinions on what's going on with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers organization?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much in the same boat as KC. You know, I was waiting to hear from Aaron Rodgers. I wanted to hear from the man himself. We heard through the grapevine, like, oh, he was upset with the organization. He didn't want to come back. But we didn't hear that from him. And normally you do hear, even if you don't hear it straight from the player, you hear from their camp. Somebody in their camp will confirm or deny the reports. But you weren't hearing anything from his camp at all. It was dead silent. And then finally we got something, right? So I agree. As much as I hate to say it, I think Denver is the destination. I just don't see any other option at the moment. I do believe that Denver will be where he lands if he moves, which I think he has to move now that he's come out and said something. So, yeah, week one, it doesn't look good. For if you're a Green Bay fan and you want Aaron Rodgers back, it's not looking good.
Now, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago when it comes to if that is an option, Aaron Rodgers going to Denver. To be honest with you, I think that's a really decent destination. That's not the problem. The problem I have for somebody that's looking at a general manager like John Elway is, dang, you had some really horrible quarterback choices over the years, except for one aging quarterback that needed, of course, a destination to come and play one more time, and that was Mr. Peyton Manning, and he ended up, of course, winning the Super Bowl out of that. And who knows, maybe you can also get lucky with a guy like Aaron Rodgers falling into your lap and you being able to maybe win another 1 or 2 Super Bowls with a guy like him. And then if that happens, all of your blunders that you had previously with a guy like Paxton Lynch, Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, all of those, bad quarterback decisions just go away because you were able to get a guy like Peyton and Aaron Rodgers. Does that happen with John Elway? Does his general manager tenure gets, I guess, glossed over from the bad quarterback decisions, KC?
I mean, I guess maybe. I think from a fan standpoint, you just want to win, right? Like, you're sort of looking over things. But at the same time, if he's that bad at getting quarterbacks, and you just named half the list. I mean, the list goes on of terrible quarterbacks that this franchise has had as far back as I can remember, since he was the quarterback of this franchise. So I don't know that it really saves it from the standpoint of maybe the regular football fan looking in, but from a fan standpoint, perhaps.
I mean, I think what Casey said he said one key word in there for me, fan, but he left one word out, delusional. Because if you're a delusional fan, then yeah, you're gonna be like, oh, everything's all fine and dandy because we won a Super Bowl. But any real fan who loves the game and knows the game, you're still going to call John Elway out on his mistakes at the quarterback position, especially because, like you pointed out, Peyton Manning was an aging quarterback who came in, won a Super Bowl, and then left. And then you struggled again. And then even if you're able to get Aaron Rodgers and you happen to win a Super Bowl, he is getting up there in age. So he's not going to be there forever. He is not that young guy that you've been looking for. And even if you happen to win 1 or 2 Super Bowls, what's going to happen after Aaron Rodgers? It doesn't look good for the Denver Broncos because John Elway is not good at evaluating the quarterback position. Well, I don't know why he's not good at it, but he is not good at it. Okay,
Well,
we can all see that.
I kind of look at it the same way which you look at Michael Jordan with, of course, being the owner with the Hornets when it comes to certain guys, and that's also when it comes to coaching aspect. You have some guys that are just so great that they expect other guys to play like them, right? And you have certain guys that become coaches that weren't as good, good players, but they were able to galvanize the troops. They're able to get the most out of other players just because they know how to coach, right? So maybe this is a situation with John Elway. He's kind of like the NFL version of Michael Jordan, kind of expecting for a Trevor Siemian or a Paxton Lynch to be like John Elway was, but in reality, there's only so many Patrick Mahomes out here, right? There's only so many Aaron Rodgers out here. So it's not about, I mean, of course it is about trying to find the next quarterback, yes. But I also feel like sometimes we're not patient enough being able to find certain quarterbacks, because let's remember how Aaron Rodgers' career started off in Green Bay. He had to sit behind Brett Favre for 4 years. We didn't know if we knew Aaron Rodgers was going to be good, but we didn't know he was going to be like this, right? So there are times that I feel like, especially with John Elway, besides picking the wrong player, there is not enough of the, how can I say, the there's not enough love into that player to say, let's grow him, let's make him into a better
I don't think that's
moving
the
forward. I'm
case,
sorry.
X. I don't think that's the case.
I just think it's horrible drafting.
Well, I think that it is the climate. I think you're trying to give him an excuse, and it's not going to work, okay? Because
that's fine.
It's the climate of the league that we're in right now. No, you don't find very many quarterbacks that are drafted in the first 2 rounds that sit anymore. Like Patrick Mahomes is probably the last guy that you can say he got the chance to sit for a season and then come out, and that really helped him. And now we see what happened, right?
And it worked with Aaron Rodgers too.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's a thing that should happen more.
It should happen, but it's not.
I agree with
not the current climate of the NFL, right? So you can't make that excuse for John Elway when you have all these other teams that are also going through these same situations, and some of them are able to find the guys. Let's look at the Chargers in LA and finding Justin Herbert. Like, you know, you have to look at the situation, and if you evaluate the right guy, then he's going to do well in your system. But if you're not good at evaluating guys, then yeah, you're going to make this mistake. And I think he oftentimes falls in love with certain traits, and that's who he wants. And I think he kind of has this tunnel vision on that, right? So look at Brock Osweiler, look at Paxton Lynch. Those 2 guys alone.
They had the build.
They had the build. They had the arm. Everybody was talking about, oh, look at the arm strength.
Yeah.
Look at the prototypical build and everything. And then they turned out to be duds. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think right now, honestly, if they weren't able to get Aaron Rodgers, I think the best thing for them is to ride out with Teddy Bridgewater, because I think Teddy Bridgewater is the best thing for them. They just need a guy that's going to be safe. He's not going to really try to turn the ball over. He's just going to be there, and he's going to allow the defense to do what the defense does. I think that Teddy Bridgewater is probably the best situation for them, because we've seen what happens with somebody who I would say is the polar opposite of Teddy Bridgewater in Drew Lock, who is a gunslinger, wants to throw the ball into tight windows, and it has not worked out. I would argue, though, some of that is the coaching and the system and not necessarily the player. I think Drew Lock has something there. He could be a good player, but I think he needs to be in the right system. And that is something to be said about John Elway and what they're doing in Denver. They have gotten some guys that I do think in a better system or in a better atmosphere, they could have been successful, but going to Denver has killed them. And we should probably talk about that. That's something that people need to talk about more as far as Denver is related, because there is something going on in Denver that no matter what quarterback you get, they just are not able to make it in whatever system John Elway is putting them in.
And of course, what you're speaking of more than anything is organizational wise. And that kind of segues me back into what we were talking about with Aaron Rodgers, is that what he spoke to with Kenny Mayne on SportsCenter last night is this has nothing to do with the coaches. This has nothing to do with Jordan Love. This has nothing to do with the fans, the city of Green Bay. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has everything to do with apparently the way the organization is being ran right now. And for Aaron Rodgers to call out what, let's be real, what we kind of all have seen for years now. I mean, again, I just think that he's a guy that understands and knows he has leverage. He just got done hosting Jeopardy. He's that dude. And 31 other teams in the NFL will take him. As a Tennessee Titans fan, y'all would trade Ryan Tannehill right now. Right now for Aaron Rodgers.
It's 30.
31 other teams. 32 altogether.
I know.
Kansas City. Kansas City gonna trade. Hey.
Baltimore ain't taking him either.
Y'all drunk. Y'all are drunk. Baltimore not taking Aaron Rodgers?
No.
That
Kansas
bad,
City
man.
They ain't taking that contract, bro.
Look, if you want to win, you're gonna take that contract.
No. I would even argue LA, the Rams not gonna take him.
Okay.
Chargers.
Again, that's just my opinion.
Chargers not gonna take him. Yeah,
that's my opinion. That's my opinion. Let's go to the comments section right quick. My boy Lee, he says, might need to get these Chiefs Broncos tickets at Arrowhead for cheap right now before June 1st. Those tickets are going to skyrocket.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get crazy.
He also said, speaking of Chiefs, last week there was speculation the Packers were willing to give Rodgers a Mahomes contract. Will that play a big role, you think, for Rodgers to stay at the back end of his career? He meant to say stay, not start. Yes, to stay at the back end of his career. Honestly, I'll just say first, honestly, it doesn't matter what the Packers throw at Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it's had anything to do with money. It has everything to do with respect. This is a respect thing right now, and I just feel like Aaron Rodgers feels disrespected. And like he said before, not just on SportsCenter with Kenny Mayne last night, but a couple weeks ago, was the Packers expected Aaron Rodgers to have a down year. Everybody expected. Well, I'm sorry, maybe the Packers organizations expected Aaron Rodgers to maybe throw for 2,500 yards, and he went out there and had almost another MVP season. So that throws a monkey wrench in the Packers' plans to try to move forward, just wishing away Aaron Rodgers, kind of like Brett Favre towards the end of his career with the Packers, where he was not playing up to Brett Favre stature, right? So,
can I just throw this out there real quick?
Throw it out there.
This has been a long time coming. The Packers have been setting this up, and Aaron Rodgers he's
seen it right on the wall.
Well, no, let me say he didn't have the leverage at the time. And this season, he got all the leverage he needed.
You're saying a couple years ago because he was hurt?
No, well, what I'm saying is the Packers, for a long time, everyone in the league has been calling for the Packers to get him more weapons. Everyone in the league for a couple years now has been asking for more weapons.
Over that. I'm over number one offense in the league. They were the number one offense in the league.
Okay.
They lost because they lost an offensive lineman to keep him upright. I'm overhearing about how he needed more weapons. I can't buy into that stuff.
Hey, but what I'm saying is when you have a consensus from people in the league who say he needs more weapons and the team continues to go out and not draft weapons.
That's a problem too. That is a problem though.
You have quarterback.
How do you draft a backup quarterback in the first round?
That's a problem.
That's a problem. Okay.
I agree with that.
Kansas City drafted a starting running back after they won Super Bowl. Oh, that's all we're saying.
But that's why I said it's been a long time coming. I mean, even if you don't agree like with the weapons situation, the fact of the matter is the way they have drafted on to the tail end of Aaron Rodgers' career. What star quarterback is not going to look at some of these draft decisions and say,
"Man, at least Tony Romo got help from Jerry Jones when he was playing." Come on now, like at least like
all Jerry wants to do is draft the flashy guy, right?
Well, hey,
that's a Jerry thing.
I mean, look, even with the Raiders, at least Al Davis when he was alive, at least he was out there getting some type of weapons for the no-name quarterbacks that he had back in the day. So I mean, I understand completely where you're coming from, Casey. I understand completely. You can say I'm tired of hearing about Aaron Rodgers crying about this, that, and the third. But Aaron Rodgers made those guys. Devontae Adams is not that good without Aaron Rodgers.
I think Devontae Adams. You're looking at some of these other guys.
I'm just saying. Aaron Rodgers made Devontae Adams the same way Aaron Rodgers also helped out and made not just Greg Jennings but also what's his face? You know who I'm talking about. The other wide receiver. The other wide receiver played for the
Donald
Packers.
Driver?
No, my bad. I'm talking my bad. Yeah, Greg Jennings. My bad. I'm talking about Greg Jennings the whole time. My bad. Yes, Greg Jennings when he went to Minnesota, who was not the same. When he went to I know he played
crazy when guys go other places at the end of their career, they're not as good.
And again, I think Greg Jennings was good, but I don't think he would have been good without Aaron Rodgers. That's all. All right, look.
Cortland Sutton's going to look real good. That's all I'm saying.
Depending on who the quarterback is in week one. Speaking of wide receivers, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic of the night with Mr. Julio Jones. And, of course, this topic comes from the conversation he had with Shannon Sharpe on FS1 Undisputed, where he says, quote, unquote, I'm out of there. Talking about, of course, the Atlanta Falcons and the trade rumors that he has going on with the Atlanta Falcons. So with that being said, it seems like Julio will move on from Atlanta, of course, after June 1st. The question is, where will he land? Anybody can take this from me.
There's a lot of options here. Like, I think there's one glaringly obvious one, and we'll all hate it, but it's going to happen.
New England.
But I mean, you could talk me into probably 3, 4, or 5 different teams being interested. And yeah, I mean, not only does he want out, but the Falcons are in just a terrible cap situation. They've needed to do this for a while. I mean, rumor has it he requested this trade in March, and nothing's happened. I mean, it's again, we're waiting for that post June 1st date to roll around. Though you could make a trade and just make it effective at that date, so we don't really have to sit on our hands if we don't want to. But I mean, it's the Patriots, right? Like, that's where we're at. This is going to happen.
I mean, I would say yes, but I mean, also, I mean, if you think about the Patriots, they don't. I wouldn't say they don't do this, but they don't do it unless you are at the back in your career, right? I mean, we see what we saw with Ocho Cinco.
Well, we've seen a different Patriots attitude coming into this offseason. I think we have a different. Bill Belichick's pissed, guys. Like,
he wants that Brady revenge tour.
Yeah, I do believe that they're sort of working irrationally. Not that this is like an irrational move to an extent, but I think it's probably the Patriots. I mean, tell me that a team like the Jaguars, who got a bunch of cap, wouldn't do it. I mean, help out that young quarterback, get a weapon out there, maybe. I mean, the thing that gets me is the cap thing, though. I mean, football money it's not as fake as baseball money, but you can rework all kinds of things. Because I keep hearing all kinds of things about how your Titans should do it, and I just don't see how those numbers work at all.
And I was going to get into that. I was waiting for you to do your spill. The two teams at the moment that Julio is eyeing would be the Patriots and the Tennessee Titans. And AJ Brown is already, of course, trying to recruit not just through the media, but also through Instagram. If you check out his Instagram, he is definitely recruiting.
So was DeAndre Hopkins.
Yes, and DeAndre as well. And I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, if he goes to the Cardinals, I'm penciling him as to the Super Bowl. Or I'm sorry, not the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, at least the NFC Championship game. At least the thing about going
Cliff needs that.
I give him that division.
The thing about going to Arizona though is it's only one football, and it's not like it's basketball. Right, so as a wide receiver and you know this, we got to get our catches. Like, you got to get at least, when as a number one, got to get at least minimum 5 to 6 catches a game, minimum. So, is there enough balls to go around Hopkins, Fitzgerald, depending on if he's coming back or not? Most likely, he probably won't. AJ Green and also Julio. I could see Julio coming to the Titans, but my dark horse team, because they do have the cap, maybe the Baltimore Ravens. You keep hearing about Lamar needs weapons. You keep hearing about
this on the podcast this week,
and you keep hearing about you keep hearing about Lamar needs a. But here's the thing: I'll be honest with you. The reason why I don't think it will work is because, and people can hate me all you want to, but I don't think Lamar, throwing style wise, is going to help Julio get to.
If I'm a receiver in the league, I don't want to go to Baltimore
at all.
Plain and simple. Like, I don't. Baltimore is not where I want to be.
Well, there's also the thing that he doesn't have a no trade clause. The wide receivers don't generally get those. So
I mean, that's going to get waived.
He doesn't have one, so they can trade him wherever they want. They can trade him whoever gives them the best offer, and they should. I get there's a lot of respect your guys. He gave you this much time. At least do him a solid as long as you're not sending him to someone in the division. But
only the Texans listen to that nonsense.
Well, that's not happening. Exactly. So I send him to Jacksonville. Like, if they send you the best offer, do it. I think the Ravens think that they took care of their problem, or they at least want to see if they took care of their wide receiver problem.
I agree.
I don't think they want to invest that kind of capital into something that they may have already taken care of. That's why I don't really look at the Ravens as the contender. What should happen is the Browns should just trade OBJ straight up for him.
Man, that's what I was just about to say. I was waiting for y'all to finish because I was just about to say the Cleveland Browns.
We talked about that before, Ish. We talked about that. We talked about how we said if OBJ is off of the Browns, maybe the Browns are able to take that next step because of not the having that distraction. Even though OBJ is not really a distraction, he hasn't been OBJ, the one-handed catch on Sunday Night Football like he has been in the past years.
I would but if you add a guy,
that's what I'm saying. But if you add a guy like Julio, who's going to come in and just work and not be that prima donna wide receiver,
Can I just be
Which,
honest?
for the record, is why I think that works with somewhere like Arizona too. I think if you're winning games, guys like DeAndre Hopkins and Julio Jones aren't as
AJ
concerned
Green.
with those numbers. Yeah, this is true too. I don't know that those guys are gonna after a win go to the podium and say something about their lack of touches. I just don't really see that with those guys. Whereas with Odell, even in winning, I think he's gonna be a little upset that he's not getting his touches.
And
so
that's why, to me,
and then Baker starts looking
y'all
at
talking
him.
about Tennessee and everything, and I'm sitting here thinking, my dark horse for this season, the Cleveland Browns, they should make this trade. Odell only has 1 year of guaranteed money left on his contract. You've been talking about cap space. That can make this happen. Go send him. Offer Odell and maybe a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick.
So I think a Ford get it done.
Odell and a 4
Odell and a
probably
4.
gets this done.
I respect it. I mean, that's interesting.
Why not? That gives Baker a true weapon outside of Jarvis Landry, who's like that go to do all kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But Jarvis Landry can't carry your offense like a Julio can carry that offense. And then you put him with that running game. Oh,
It's
man.
scary. Oh, it's scary. It's scary.
Even I'm scared. Even I will be scared of that one.
Let me get into this comment right quick from Lee, because I think this is very interesting as well. He said, yeah, I think Pats, Colts, Cardinals, young QBs like Wentz and Murray could definitely take him. Colts seem like an extremely good fit. T.Y. Hilton always heard, and then it's just Michael Pittman. Now, I've heard that too. Maybe the Colts might be in the sweepstakes as well for Julio, and that'd be somebody that Carson Wentz wouldn't mind hooking up with as well, and that could help the Colts try to retake the AFC South. I think that's very interesting to watch out for. Who knows? I've heard some rumblings. Maybe he might head to the Washington football team as well. You know, him matching up with Terry McLaurin and whatnot. I mean, that'd be very interesting as well to see. But no matter what team he goes to, even if he does go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, he's going to make noise. He's going to bring a different type of attitude to that wide receiver group, and he's going to help whatever team. Again, even if he goes to Jacksonville Jaguars and be on the same line with Tim Tebow and a 3-point stance, he's still going to bring some type of offensive pressure to the defense. He will, of course, get maybe depending on the team. He's going to. The Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yeah, they got DJ Chark. They got
Chark.
Yes.
Laviska
Shenault. I know they're fine. I'm just saying.
No, I think it helps. I think it would really help to have that veteran presence and another piece out there. I think it would be what they need. It's something that would help them a lot.
Can I throw one more team out there?
Of course.
That I would love to see this happen just because I would love for them to hold to form. The Las Vegas Raiders. I just would love to see them make a crazy trade like this, because I feel like they go out and they make these wild and crazy trades and then it never works out.
Never pans out.
And I just like to sit and laugh when Kansas City plays them. So, yeah, I would like to see him go to the Raiders just so it doesn't work out for them.
I think if he ends up in that division, he's more likely to end up with the Chargers, actually.
I wouldn't mind that.
Which I hate.
I don't want to see that.
I don't want to see that neither.
Yeah,
before we move on to the next topic, I did see somebody. I want to say it was Marcus Spears on ESPN say maybe Julio might ends up with the Kansas City Chargers. I'm sorry, Kansas City Chiefs. I apologize, Kansas City Chiefs. To where I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to work money wise. I don't think it's going to happen.
It don't work money wise. If he had 1 year left on his deal and we could get him on some sort of a mercenary type contract, then possibly I could see it. But this team's
it's
got
the deal. It's the contract.
If he'll restructure the contract, then.
They got other things going on. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I don't believe they're going to re-sign Orlando Brown. I think this is a 1 year deal and he's out the door. But there are a lot of fans that think he's going to stick around. They got to find money for him. They got to find money for a couple other guys. Thuney's deal skyrockets next year.
You say that, Casey, but they did go. The word on the street was they were the team that Juju was going to go to if he didn't go back to Pittsburgh. So I just feel like if you were gonna go for Juju,
it would have been a 1 year deal, though. That's the thing.
That's true. That's true.
Because all these wide receivers know the cap's going back up next year, so they want to get their money next year. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Hey, if the Chiefs could find a way to make it work, I love it.
Oh, sold.
I declare us the Super Bowl champs as soon as the deal goes through.
All right, well, speaking of wide receivers getting their money, Mr. Jalen Waddle got his money, rookie wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And besides him getting his money, apparently he got a nice little draft grade by the Jacksonville Jaguars. And a report that I read just a couple of days ago, apparently the Jacksonville Jaguars out here doing Jacksonville Jaguar things, besides hiring a coach that nobody wants, besides, of course, bringing back a player that hasn't played in 7-8 years. They decided to not cover up the players that they have on their draft board. And let's be real. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was the number one pick probably his junior year in high school. We all knew Trevor Lawrence was probably going to be the number one pick no matter what team was going to be at the number one spot. And Jacksonville, of course, decided to take Trevor Lawrence. But they decided to also have Jalen Waddle, wide receiver from Alabama, have the same draft grade as him. The reason why I want to talk about this topic is because I think it's very interesting on both Florida teams, the Jacksonville Jaguars and also the Miami Dolphins, the team that Jalen Waddle fell to in the draft, because if Jalen Waddle is as good as Trevor Lawrence is as a same draft grade, then maybe Miami might have been able to find somebody that can help their team instantaneously and not having to wait another 2 or 3 or 4 years to be able to make a mark on that team. KC, go ahead, start us off.
Maybe Jacksonville is just not good at draft grades. I mean, here's where we're at, right, with this team and where it's been. I mean, yeah, they did just play an AFC Championship game not too long ago.
That was 4 years ago.
Built on a really strong defense and a not great offense.
That was 4 years ago.
But I mean, that's where I'm at with this. Like, yeah, he's gonna be a good player. We'll see. We had the conversation earlier about quarterbacks making wide receivers. Do we think Tua's gonna make this work? Because I'm not sold that's gonna happen. Maybe. This is the NFL, though. It's not college.
This is true. It's very true, sir.
I don't know. We'll see.
Deshaun Watson to Jalen Waddle.
Oof.
It's a possibility.
We have to see what
he's
happens.
He's got to clear a lot of things up first.
Yeah,
but
we'll see what happens with that.
I don't believe the Dolphins are sold on Tua. And as a result, just to kind of touch into my philosophy, especially when it comes to fantasy football, right? A lot of times receivers their value is tied to what quarterback is throwing them the ball. And in this situation with the up and down from Tua, I don't know if he can have the kind of impact that you would say he could have had if he went to a different team. I just don't know that situation in Miami. Also, considering they don't have the strongest of run games, you're kind of setting yourself up for something. You got Devontae Parker, who had a pretty solid season last year, but outside of that, you're throwing this guy in and you're asking him to do a lot. Unlike Justin Jefferson, who in Minnesota, you had Adam Thielen on the other side, right? So you had a big piece to kind of take some of that off of you. I would argue even with CeeDee Lamb in Dallas, you had Michael Gallup, you had some players around you that helped to spread that focus. In Miami, you don't have it. And then your quarterback is up and down as well. I just don't see the same impact. I don't see that impact there. But I could be wrong. He is very electric. If they can get him the ball, he can do some wonderful things. It's just going to be, can they get him the ball?
Well, of course, that comes down to the offensive coordinator. Comes down to head coach, comes down to what you are able to do to, of course, put your players out in positions to succeed. And more than anything, of course, with Tua, I mean, the best bet is to be able to make sure you get them out on screens, right? Jalen Waddle on some screens, some 5-yard hitches, 5-yard ends, to, nothing too crazy, maybe some go routes, but just don't complicated, right? I mean, just give Jalen the ball, let him work. That's what they did in Alabama. Make sure that you able to just give him the ball in his hands and let him go be electric on the field. I mean, I just feel like if you're able to do that with the Dolphins, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work. But I'm 100% agreeing with you two when it comes to Tua. Tua is the question mark. Tua is the question mark for the Dolphins. Now, let's just say it is Deshaun Watson that gets traded for Tua, or, we have Tua gets moved for Aaron Rodgers, or, something happens where Tua is gone. Then, like you just said, whoever quarterback that comes in there, then we tie him in there with whatever quarterback that is. Then we can see a different version of Jalen Waddle because he's now even more of a downfield threat, right? Let's get to the comment section right quick with Lee one more time. He says, I think it was extremely smart bringing in Waddle in, though, giving Tua all these great weapons by adding Fuller. Waddle already have Gesicki and Parker. This is the make or break year for Tua as a Dolphin. Now, whichever quarterback they go for next comes into a great arsenal. But yes, of course.
It's absolutely a prove it type season for him. I think there are a couple quarterbacks that have that coming their way this year.
Oh yeah.
We're going to see that with Danny Dimes in New York. We put all these guys around you. If you can't do it, then we may have to find someone else who can.
And I'm happy that you bring up Danny. We don't call him Dimes on this show, Danny Jones on this show, because you have not earned that nickname at all. You're not going to you're not going to be out here just giving out nicknames. You haven't earned them. Because we're going to do a segment on that as well when it comes to players that this is their make it or break it year, pretty much their earn it year. Because I mean, it's some guys out here in the league that are riding on things that they did 3 or 4 years ago, and you're not. This league has always been a "what have you done for me lately" league. It always has been and always will be. So some of these guys will have to step up or move over for the next, the guys behind you that's coming in to take your spot. That's just the name of the business. This is a very competitive business, and the best are going to play, and that's just how it is. Like you just said, Casey, this is NFL. This ain't college anymore. All righty then. I do appreciate my guys, as always, for joining the show. Of course, I thank you, as always, KC, for joining us once again.
Anytime.
Y'all already know y'all can check him out on Just Another Football Show on his Facebook page, and you have a YouTube, right? YouTube show?
Oh yeah, we're over on YouTube. We've been doing a little bit of live stream and stuff.
Okay.
It's Just Another Podcast Network because we do.
Yes, I know you're on your podcast, but I didn't know if you.
Yeah, we do a couple things over there on the YouTube, not just football, but mostly football stuff. We're rolling in the off season, so we're still having some Hall of Fame debates. We're doing some fun stuff, some fantasy drafts of random things. We like to do that in the off season.
All right. So what Casey is saying, he's trying to throw some ideas to us to make sure that we ain't just talking just straight football in the off season.
Nah,
go ahead.
You.
We need some fun topics over here as well too. That's what you're saying. I like that.
No, we just talk
fantasy draft.
So we've done so many fantasy drafts. It's fun. We fantasy drafted sports movies last year. That was fun.
That's interesting.
Who
came out on top? I'm assuming Friday Night Lights, Remember the Titans, Victory Blues.
I mean, we had a lot of.
Varsity Blues.
You had to have so many. You had one from at least so many from each sport. A couple flex positions. It was really fun. We did it over the course of 3-4 episodes. It's available out there. All of our podcasts are archived. You can go out and check them out. We're gonna do some fun stuff this year too. It was really fun. Hell, we did a beer bracket last year where we
I remember that.
Ranked, we ranked situational beers. I think it came down to concert beers and tailgating beers, maybe. I don't remember. It was a good time. We had a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun in the off season, and then in July we're going to be talking, doing team previews. We try to talk to a fan from every team. So guys, if you are a fan of a team, get at us on the Facebook, join the Facebook group, get at us. We have yet to do this. We've been doing this for 3 or 4 seasons now to have all 32 teams represented. It's our goal this year.
Okay.
Make sure if you're a fan of some teams, get at us because we'd love to talk to somebody that is a real fan of the teams.
To do what?
We just do a little team preview. I'll get a hold of you. I'll be getting a hold of you.
I want to represent the organization in Houston.
Lord.
I want to
Oh,
represent the organization in Houston, not because I'm a fan,
Rob.
but
You can
because
have
I
that
just
one.
want to tear them apart.
I don't know that anybody wants to represent them, but yeah. No, we like talking to real fans. You know, everybody's got their analytical look at things. We like to actually talk to a fan and get a feeling for how the fans feel about the team and what they've done from in the off season and moving on and how they're going to do this season. So
I like that.
it's really fun and refreshing to actually like talk to a real fan about their team. We do one division every week, 2 episodes a week, 2 teams each episode. So we roll through it in 8 weeks, talk about all the teams, and then we roll into previews for the season. So it's fun.
I like it. I like it a lot. As you heard on X Talking Ish, my guy KC from Just Another Football Show. Please make sure you tune into that, and also, who knows, maybe you could be a guest on his show with
Absolutely.
your favorite team, from the LA Chargers all the way maybe to the new MetLife Stadium, from the New York Jets or the New York Giants. Anybody that's a fan of one of those teams in the middle, go ahead and check out Just Another Football Show.
Or if you're an anti-fan like me
Or anti-
of an organization and you want to represent that
Maybe
organization.
we'll play with that idea.
All righty, then. We appreciate y'all as always. Appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight. We will see y'all next week, Tuesday at 9 o'clock, X Talking Ish on Facebook and YouTube.